Have you ever noticed that most American houses don't have fences? You can literally walk down a street and see straight into someone's backyard. No walls, no gates, nothing. Why is that? Are Americans just not worried about privacy? Or is there a deeper story behind it? Today, we're diving into something that might seem small, but actually says a lot about how Americans live, think, and see the world. Their homes. We'll explore why so many American houses are open to the street, what that says about freedom and trust, and how it connects to the country's history and culture. By the end of this episode, you'll understand not just the houses, but a little more about the American mindset. When visitors come to the U.S. for the first time, one of the first things they notice is how open everything looks. The houses aren't hidden behind tall gates. The lawns stretch right out to the sidewalk. The front doors often face directly toward the street with only a small path in between. For many people around the world, especially from countries where walls and fences are normal, this feels strange. It might even feel unsafe. So the question is, why do Americans live like this? Why don't they fence their homes like people in other countries do? Let's start with a little history. Back in the 1800s, when people started building towns across the United States, land was cheap and there was plenty of it. Settlers moved west, claiming big pieces of land under something called the Homestead Act. The idea was simple. If you could live on the land and improve it, build a house, farm it, make it productive, then it was yours. This gave people a strong sense of ownership and freedom. Their land was open, wide, and theirs to shape. The American dream was born in open space, not behind a wall. And when communities started to form, neighbors didn't build fences to divide themselves. They wanted to show trust. A fence could mean, I don't trust you. But no fence? That said, I'm part of this neighborhood. We're in this together. This idea of openness became part of American culture. It wasn't just about space. It was about values. If you drive through a typical American suburb today, you'll see this tradition still alive. Front lawns stretch out like green carpets. Neighbors wave from across the street. Kids ride bikes from one yard to another. The space between homes feels shared, even though each person owns their own property. It's not always perfect. Sometimes dogs wander too far, or someone's leaves blow into another yard. But overall, the open front yard is seen as a place to connect, not to hide. Now, let's talk about privacy, because that's what surprises people the most. In many countries, privacy is protected by walls. You build fences so people can't see in. But in the U.S., privacy often happens inside the home, not outside. Americans believe that once you step inside, that's your personal world. Outside, on the lawn or porch, that's part of the community. That's why you'll often see Americans sitting on their porch, waving at neighbors walking by, or chatting with someone passing the street. It's part of being friendly and approachable. Having no fence is almost like saying, I'm not hiding, I'm open. It's not that Americans don't care about safety, they do. But many trust that good neighborhoods, police services, and modern security systems will protect them. The idea of needing a tall wall around your home can even feel unfriendly in some areas. There's also a social side to this. In American culture, people often value individual freedom, but also community connection. The open yard is a symbol of both. You're free to design your space however you like. Maybe you plant flowers, maybe you decorate for the holidays, but you're still visually connected to your neighbors. That connection builds what's called social trust. It's not written in law, but it's powerful. When everyone can see each other's homes, people tend to take better care of them. You don't want your lawn to look messy when everyone can see it. It creates a silent agreement. Let's all keep our neighborhood nice. Now let's look at how this connects to American individualism. Americans love to express themselves through fashion, cars, or even how their house looks. Without fences, homes become little statements of personality. Some paint their doors bright red. Others hang flags, wind chimes, or plant colorful gardens. This visibility allows people to show who they are without ever saying a word. That's very American, being seen, being unique, and being proud of it. But of course, not every American house is fence-free. In cities, you'll see fences for safety. In rural areas, fences keep animals from wandering off. And in some newer neighborhoods, short decorative fences are used just for style. Still, in general, Americans prefer openness over separation. Even if there's a small fence, it's usually waist high, not tall enough to block your view. There's even a saying, good fences make good neighbors. But in the US, most people understand that line differently than you might think. It doesn't mean you should build a tall wall. It means you should respect boundaries, whether or not there's a fence there. Now let's dig into the cultural psychology behind this. The US is a country built on the idea of freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom to live how you want. That spirit shows up in physical space too. Americans want to feel like they can move, breathe, and see the sky. A high wall feels like limitation, like something that keeps you boxed in. When you live in a culture that values independence, you naturally want space that feels open. It's almost symbolic. An open yard represents an open life. There's also something interesting about the way Americans view personal space. They often like a lot of distance between themselves and others. But paradoxically, they don't want walls around their homes. It's like saying, I want my space, but I also want to feel connected. It's a balance between freedom and belonging. Now, here's another layer most people don't think about: the role of the front yard. In American culture, the front yard isn't just decoration, it's a stage for life. It's where kids play catch, where parents set up lemonade stands, where neighbors stop to chat. During holidays, it becomes a space for pumpkins, Christmas lights, or flags. Without fences, these decorations become part of the neighborhood's shared experience. You can walk down a street and see dozens of personalities, all on display, side by side. It's like a living museum of community life. But of course, times are changing. In some newer neighborhoods, especially in big cities, people are starting to build higher fences again. Some do it for privacy, some for pets, some because the world feels a little less trusting than it used to be. But even then, the traditional American ideal still lives on in most suburbs. Wide lawns, open yards, friendly waves. It's not just about saving money on fences. It's about identity. It's about saying, I'm part of something bigger than myself. So what does all this mean? A house without a fence might seem like just a design choice, but it actually represents the American spirit. Open, trusting, independent, yet connected. It reflects a belief that life is better when people can see each other, when neighbors talk, when communities share space. In a way, the absence of a fence is the presence of trust. And that's what makes it so American. When you walk through a quiet American neighborhood, you're not just seeing houses, you're seeing history, psychology, and culture all mixed together. Those green open lawns tell stories about freedom, community, and trust. So the next time you notice a house without a fence, remember, it's not because Americans forgot to build one. It's because for many, an open yard means an open heart. Watch the next episode to keep learning English through real American life and culture. And don't forget to subscribe to the American English Podcast. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.